Part 6. Jacob, Matt, and the rest of the Dark Resistance have taken heavy blows. As the Dark Lord gains power, they must get back on their feet and find a way to defeat him. With Jacob now reuniting with other friends, he must face a more powerful evil ahead of him. Find out how Jacob will overcome trial as he and his friends attempt to stop the Dark Lord before it's too late in this next sequel. I just savor this candy I'm eating while reading this book. Swell. J.J. Abrams. If I find out that Larry dies too, I will cry. Yeah, I haven't read this book yet. Bill Clinton. This guy stole my idea for a book I wrote. George Lucas. Moo. A dude in a cow suit. Chapter 1. Jessica! Cried Matt. Matt ran down the hill and tackled the princess in deep affection. I love you! I thought you were dead, but I love you! Exclaimed Matt. Matt, get off of her! Yelled Zemetist. But she's alive! Jessica is alive! Exclaimed Matt. Then the princess spoke up after punching Matt in the face.
I'm not Jessica. Jessica's my twin sister.
Spat the princess. What? Really? I mean, no, it can't be! This is so embarrassing! Exclaimed Matt. Matt ran away into the city. Finally, Jacob caught up. What was that about? Asked Jacob.
That dude is so gross. He started hugging and kissing me. What a sicko. He should find who I am before he does that.
Complained the princess. As they walked into Hebron City, guards followed just behind. You know, Jacob, not many people have the chance these days to go into the county of Hebron. Country of Hebron. This country has always been suspicious of other countries, and for good reason, especially now, explained Zemetist. This country used to be part of Pukuna, till 100 years ago from tomorrow, when they fought for their independence, not by sword, but by words and legibility. Jacob didn't necessarily enjoy history, but he had nothing else to do, so he pretended to be interested. You see, a majority of the people in Pukuna wanted to have their own country, independent of the government of Pukuna, which allowed too much outside voices to sway decisions. They also had a tiny size of military, and being one of the biggest countries, it allowed easy invasion from all of its many shared borders. Because of its constitution, which enforced complete democracy, the citizens were able to vote for independence and create the country of Hebron, explained Zemetist. As they walked down a neat road with nice homes on either side, Jacob spotted Matt. Hey, Matt, over here! Jacob called out. Matt dove into a flower bed, which consequently gave him 5 whacks on the head from a lady gardening. Embarrassed and holding his head in pain, Matt walked over to a waiting group and cried. With the princess leading the procession, they walked forward. What is this princess's name? Asked Matt through tears. It is Melissa, answered Zemetist. Jacob then told Zemetist about his and Matt's new abilities. Zemetist seemed concerned. This is good and bad. You must learn how to control these abilities. It will help you face the Dark Lord, I feel. They finally reached a large home on the corner connecting to the main road. They walked inside, and before them was a clean room with a tall ceiling and a big chandelier hung up high. Once in, they took a seat in a room to the right. The guards left to guard the door in the main room, and Zemetist led the conversation. Hello, it is good to see you two. Zemetist gestured toward Jacob and Matt. I see Matt here is beginning to have romance problems. As we all know, Melissa's sister Jessica was killed in a horrible encounter with Princess Haven. She will always be in our hearts. Matt started to cry and tackled Zemetist. Why would you remind me of her? Don't you know I love her? Screamed Matt. Zemetist shot a blue ball of magic at Matt, and he flew back into the wall. Would you just stop already? I'm so done with you being unreasonable because of the princess. I will punch you again and again if you physically assault someone again because of this junk, exclaimed Zemetist. Just guards stormed the room and grabbed Matt. Matt turned and shot a blast of fire near the guards. The guards stepped back slightly, and Matt ran out the door. After the guards chased him, Zemetist started again. As I was saying, I would like to know what happened to you, Jacob, after you left Centralia City. Jacob looked at Melissa, winked, then started. We traveled for 2 cold weeks across the central mountains and the marshes of Pocana until we reached the city of Great Lake. We braved freezing cold and the Nether monster and heroically got the blue gem. I had to face the Nether monster myself and was almost killed twice. While in the massive storm, I led us to shore where I sacrificed myself to sharp rocks and ice-cold water so Matt and Larry could survive. After using my awesome survival skills, I traveled the woods with intensive injuries and rescued the others. I had a massively epic face-off with the Princess Haven, and Zemetis cut him off. First of all, I don't believe half this crap, and second, a Princess Haven showed up? Jacob glared at him. Hey, this is real! And yes, a Princess Haven showed up and he was a total loser, yelled Jacob. Okay, it sounds like you need some sleep. How about you go upstairs and go to bed? Zemetis said carefully. Jacob slept in a very comfortable bed that night and dreamed about Melissa the whole time. When he awoke, he came to the same room to eat breakfast and found a bruised-up-looking Matt, a grouchy Zemetis, and Melissa was nowhere to be found. Why is Melissa here anyway? Asked Jacob. Oh yes, Centralia City is in bit havoc right now, so the king sent her under my care here in Hebron City, explained Zemetis. Oh, that's cool. The wizard dude told us after we got out of the tunnel that you were in trouble. What was that about? Asked Jacob. Why yes, I was held hostage in Horman Highlands and narrowly escaped before death. Anyway, as I was telling Matt, why didn't you get the blue gem from Levi before taking off without him? Asked Zemetis angrily. Are they okay? Asked Matt. Yes, but you put us all at risk by doing that. By the way, once Melissa is finished doing whatever she's doing, we will be leaving for Rainfront, Hebron's capital city. Like on cue, Melissa walked in with her hair tied into a bun and a long dress, trailing the floor behind her. Jacob and Matt sat staring wide-eyed as she graciously sat into her seat. Melissa, your attire is not adequate for a long travel ahead, warned Zemetis. I think it's fine, commented Jacob wide-eyed. After they all finished, they traveled across the country, enduring cold rain most of the way. Passing through lots of towns, all bunched together in the small county, they reached Rainfront. Dyslexic. Rainfront was similar to Hebron City due to its neatness. Taller buildings lined the sky to the west next to Nagastan River, and most homes were found on the east. They stayed up one night at an inn where Zemetis told them about the Battle of Maverick. Chapter 2. Nagastan and Yemen have officially declared war against Centralia and Hebron. Horman, Guizana, and Pukana are currently neutral. Forces from Centralia are facing off near the border of Yemen next week. We will meet up with the general there and send you on to the next gem, explained Zemetis. The next day they said farewell to Hebron and crossed the Nagastan River back into Centralia. With 15 guards escorting them to Maverick, they rode in a separate carriage from Melissa, who spotted much more splendor. One night while at camp, Jacob and Matt snuck away at dinner into some reeds next to the Nagastan River. I feel like Melissa should be more attracted to you, or attracted to me. You know, I'm like the chosen one and all. I feel like I get no credit for what I do, complained Matt. Yeah, I know what you mean, but for me, this is definitely better than being on the Susie Lay. That thing was just terrible, Jacob added. I can't really relate. I had a pretty good on the farm with my folks in Tossagem. I think about what's going on back there sometimes. Matt sighed. I just hope that we can defeat the Dark Lord and then maybe, Melissa might, be interested, sighed Matt. Hey, Matt, anything new about your powers? Asked Jacob. No, not really. They're real swell, though. I want to fire blast someone. Jacob heard a noise behind him, but as he turned to see what it was, he saw an owl land on a tall willow tree. It then let out a hoot and made Matt scream. The next morning, they set off on the final day of Maverick. As they neared Maverick, Jacob surveyed the familiar landscape. To the north behind, tall oaks Jacob knew was Lake Maverick, and just ahead to the south lay Maverick, the city where they started their horrifying journey underground to Jacobson. It was different too, though. Besides the hustle and bustle of the Farmers' Festival was the hustle and bustle of soldiers preparing for war. They stayed the night in an inn, and the next day Zemetis met up with the war general, General Poi. After another day of waiting in that room with Matt, they were sent with Colonel William to Yemen, where Zemetis believed the yellow gem was located. Why aren't you coming with us? Asked Matt. I need to help with the war, but don't worry. Colonel William is very qualified to help you. You will also have assistance from 10 of our most elite soldiers. Good luck." And with that, they set off up the Nagistan Highlands. Chapter 3. As they climbed up the first hill of the range, they got a good view of the awaiting battle. Both sides of the battle waited on either side of the hills, awaiting signal to charge. Then Jacob lost view as they made the long loop around the battle. At Maverick, Zemetis discussed with General Poi what canyon to charge into. As they discussed, a soldier opened the door with urgency described the situation. "Sir, sorry, the enemy is making its way over the ridge. The cavalry leads the charge. We need to defend." The leaders were shocked. "I thought they hadn't even crossed the Jarlam River yet. How are they on our doorstep?" exclaimed the general. Zemetis was furious. "Why didn't our scouts inform us? We need to act now," urged Zemetis. "Send troops to the battle positions immediately," cried the general. As the tan-skinned soldiers from Nagistan and Yemen charged into battle, Centralia troops scrambled into position. About 5 crocks away from the town in a large field, Centralia cavalry met with the attacking cavalry. Centralia cavalry continually fell to the attackers who had the element of surprise, and charging downhill. Eventually, General Poi called for a retreat to lower ground. As the infantry retreated, Nagistan had most of the cavalry, an account of their large amount of horse breeders in the northern part of the country. Now the infantry had its face-off. Soldiers fighting for each country, they fought like lions against its prey. The Centralia forces were beginning to make progress when reinforcements came from the southeast. Now completely outnumbered and outstrategized, the general called for a retreat into the city of Maverick for a final stand. With all its citizens evacuated to other cities to avoid danger, the big city turned into a war zone. Fires spreading from torches, arrows, swords, cries of pain and confusion enveloped the streets. Here, though, they had an advantage. They knew every street, every alleyway. After another day of fighting, black-armored soldiers charged from the east. Now the general called for a full retreat, but too late. In the town hall, enemy soldiers charged into the building, capturing the leaders and even Zemetis. In shackles, Zemetis was brought out into the meeting room, and to greet him was Apprentice Haven. "Why, hello, Zemetis, I've been awaiting you," taunted Haven. "Oh, yes. You can't fight, I see. You seem to not have your wizard potion. Anyway, where are the chosen ones?" exclaimed Haven. "If I tell you, will you release me and all the troops?" asked Zemetis. "Oh, of course not. You wouldn't tell me where they really are. Do you think me a fool?" asked Haven. "Yes, I definitely do," cried Zemetis. "You will pay for that. Send him to the dungeons," exclaimed Haven. "You've escaped me once, but not this time," murmured Haven. Chapter 4. Jacob and the rest of his group had been hiking off the road in the mountains for 2 days now. The scorching heat made the going tough for everyone, and Jacob had at least 5 blisters. One night, Jacob had the first vision he had since up near Hebron City. It was of a massive battle where Jacob recognized it as Maverick. He saw Zemetis taken down to a dark dungeon and locked to chains in a small, damp, dirty cell. Jacob then saw a mass of mesas ahead of him and behind a sunset. He looked down and saw 2 of the soldiers with him in pain next to Matt, and scuttling away with a scorpion. After he awoke, they climbed to the top of the ridge that overlooked the Crescent Valley. Hot and windy, Jacob recognized this area was about the same temperature as on the Hormone River during the fall as it was now, only there was no humidity on the side of the Nagistan Highlands. That night, Jacob explained his vision to the rest of them. "I don't like the sound of this," said Colonel William. "Can't you tell the future? Is this what is happening back in Maverick? And we are heading toward the Yemen Plateau, which would match your description of the mesas," explained Colonel William. About 5 days later, they reached the bottom of the dry, rocky range. They started across the Sorophone Valley toward the Yellow Gem. As they walked, Jacob wondered what happened up in Centralia, what Melissa was doing in Maverick, if she was okay, and what his future held in his quest to defeat the Dark Lord. Yaga. The end of part 6.